Um, my name is Dustin McAllister. I'm I'm a loan officer with Kansas State Bank. See, I think I started in 2003, and I've always been online as far as do a lot of volume, and so I've always been in that internet lending side of it. And then currently at K State, I was in charge of their lending tree leads and things like that. So that's kind of what's pushed me to find something else because I've seen how saturated that is now with how many lenders are on lending tree, and always I'm been trying to find that next thing where you don't have to go after somebody that's got five people calling them that they didn't realize was going to happen, and then now they're never going to answer the phone because they didn't realize they were going to get obliterated with phone calls in the first 1 minute of pushing enter on that lead, and those are just that market I think is dying off, or it's at least making it harder for smaller places because unless you're like a Quicken with a huge like power dialer that gets somebody in a second, you're just not going to be able to compete. So I've been trying to find something where I could generate my own leads, but generate them on a national basis and, have a untapped kind of market to, find them in where it's not as competitive and I can get them more exclusively and find them maybe further up in the process before they actually want to get online and, go get a, lending tree lead or something like that.
And how hard is that's a question I get a lot is how hard is the whole, how long did it take you to get set up and all that good stuff?
So for me, it was very easy, but even if I hadn't been, like I actually showed it to my ex-wife and I said, this is something, because she's a realtor, and I said, you could actually do this. She'd have a lot more trouble with it, but she is very like opposite of that. Like she is the worst at technical, and she was like even watching some of the videos and thought, well, that seems pretty easy, to get set up. For me, it took, I think I watched the first, week 1, 2, and 3 in the first 2 days of modules, and I think I was up and running. I think I built my first survey and everything else probably in that first 72 hours the first 72 hours after I started doing it, I guess I should say, because it took me a week or two to find time to even start the course, because of outside stuff. But once I got in there and started, I just, went one after another because, yeah, it was broken down very easily where, short video, now you're going to the next step. And I actually thought that was pretty, even though I wish I wouldn't have to click in so many different videos, I could totally see why they were doing it like that because it shortened it up and it's like, okay, now we're going to go to this next step and now we're going to go to this next step. And, it really broke it down kind of, perfectly at the places where you need to stop and, kind of reset, then move on to the next thing. So.
And what's the difference between this and what you've done before in the past? Because sounds like, you've done some marketing and stuff like that. So what separates us from maybe somebody else out there?
Well, one, as far as you're teaching, how to, to do it for yourself, because I have checked with other people and thought about, actually hiring somebody to do it for me. I tried it myself, did not work. Did it the exact opposite, wrong way, twice. And I was one of those people that, you kind of see online or you see comments that are made in other either advertisements or like, you literally say there's no way you can make money doing Facebook, advertising or, generate leads that are going to be, worth anything. And if you do it the right way, there is a course, and after going through the course and seeing that, there definitely is a right way because the way you guys have formulated things is, and it's creative where I wouldn't have even thought of like that. And it's something I've never thought of is like, okay, I could just build an ad geared towards healthcare industry. Like it seems kind of stupid not to think about that, but I would have never thought to do something like that. You know what I mean? Because I've always just let Lending Tree, supply us to people. I've never thought to just go after industries and gear towards, a certain segment of the audience there and kind of, just break off and just focus on them and then, drive that ad towards them. I was doing Google AdWords, probably the wrong way too. Probably could have cut my costs in half, kind of applying these same principles to that, but just didn't know it at the time. And it was, like I say, with this, yeah, it's, untapped market. Because if you want exclusive leads out to purchase by somebody else, I mean, at a minimum, it's probably $60, $70, especially depending on the type, if it's VA, FHA. So the fact that you can generate your own exclusive leads, at really the pace you want to is the biggest, that's the biggest plus, biggest advantage. Because if you try to purchase your, so-called exclusive lead from somebody else, you really don't know if it's exclusive. You've got to trust them that they're not selling it to anybody else. So the fact that you can go out and drive these exclusive leads that are truly exclusive, you know they are because you did it yourself, is huge, because it's, easily 4 to 5 times as much, depending on what your cost is on Facebook, 3 to like 6, 7 times as much for that same exclusive lead from some other company or marketer or somebody like that. So, you're really just basically cutting out the middleman and doing it yourself and saving yourself, and you don't have as much competition. If you, want the cheaper ones, they're going to go to 3 and 4 people every time. And they're still going to cost at least double what I'm averaging on a minimum, for an exclusive lead. They're going to.
And what would you say to somebody who is on the fence about joining our program?
I guess I don't understand if anybody, why they would be leaning, I guess, at this point, because, with the market we're in and how much it costs for leads, like if you're being told that you're going to be able to generate forever, as long as Facebook's around, and you have access to this course and this group forever, as long as it's around, with the things that happen, with the changes that you get, made aware of when Facebook makes changes and everything, you're going to always be up to date on that. If you're on your own, you're not going to know about that unless you're really, super into like reading all this other stuff everywhere else, versus having somebody like Bobby who, obviously is going to these, other big guys, and they all talk together and they know the changes that are coming. They know, how to stay ahead of the curve. There's really no reason not to do it unless you're not going to maybe be in the line of work for the next, couple of years if you figure you're getting out. That's the only reason I could see it, because, I did it that day with Stacy. As soon as he told me about what I would learn and what it came with, the investment was, that'll be made up in a couple months.
Yeah, and could you say a little bit more about the group and just like anything else that you would say about Clear to Close in general?
As far as the group is, I think, the biggest thing. The course is the course, but like I say, things are always changing. People come up with ideas, and that's what's good about the group is if they don't, just their ideas alone might help trigger something in yourself where you're like, oh, I didn't, no, I can try and test this with what I have sitting and available to me, whether it's lookalike audiences, whatever. And the availability, it seems like that's the one thing I don't get. And I've even made a comment to Bobby one time when I said, you don't feel like if my message is, not important, you don't have to respond back. Cause like, it's crazy. Like you guys all have full-time jobs doing other things like McBilly. And I'm like, the fact that you have time to respond as much to as many posts, I was like, I know I want more than 24 hours in a day and it's not going to happen. Like, I don't get how you guys are still able to, respond as much as you are, especially with as big as the group is. And, that's like the biggest thing for me is like, it hasn't fallen off. Sometimes you think, okay, I'm going to sign up for something and you get it. And then it's like, you're on your own and you're done. Right. Or, they just kind of disappear. And that's the biggest thing, obviously, of buying something online is you always worry about like the credibility. Like, God, I hope I don't buy this and like 2 months later, this whole thing is dead and gone. And these guys disappear to, Australia and I never see them again. I can't track them down. Obviously, that's not what's happening here. And like I said, with the group and the people that are added in there and the, different ways, perspectives that different guys bring in there, like Rob and whoever else. I think that's the biggest thing for me is getting all these different, people to, they're always available and throwing in different ideas or their ways they do things or little tweaks here and there. And that's what I don't know. I find out that's the biggest resource to me. I'm glad I got the course, and you got to get the course, obviously to build the base. And then it's all the other stuff that's after that, available in the course or the group that, can help you, basically grow that thing that you kind of built in the very beginning and make it, a lot bigger. And what was the other question? I forgot what the second one was.
Anything else that you would say about the group or the course or just anything in general?
No, that is totally worth it. Like I say, I've already, seen in the next couple months, well, I'll have made my money back and then some on it. And after that, it's just, total profit. It's just, like I say, based on, how much you put in. And just that I have seen some other courses where I've heard from other guys that have done certain things that maybe I told that I was going to do this, and they're like, watch out for this or that. And it seems like nothing that I've experienced is anything like they've experienced, or vice versa. I guess I haven't experienced anything that they talked about watching out for or what happened to them. Like everything was 100% legit, 100%, help available if you needed it. Sometimes you got to wait a little bit, but again, I'm not expecting, I post a message and then a second later I get a response, even though that happens sometimes. The availability of the group and, like I say, just how other people are that know things. I'm getting to that point now where I can help people, that are just coming in pretty easily. I'm like, hey, here's what you did wrong. Just really quick, make a comment just to jump in ahead because I saw the comment was posted and maybe somebody else hasn't seen it yet. But the fact that there's other guys in there like that too, that have been doing it a while. That's why I think the biggest thing is because it is more like a little mini family, where it's kind of like, okay, we're part of this little group that nobody else is in, our little club. And, you got to take care of your club, make sure it keeps, growing and stays fresh with ideas, things like that. So that's the biggest thing I think I would say about it is just, it's kind of like what's the word? It's like I guess it is like a family type of thing where you're just, just a group of friends, everybody's there helping each other out. Not like I figured out something and I'm not going to tell anybody and keep it to myself. It's like, hey, I figured out something, try this. This is awesome. It'll help you. They could even be in your same area competing, maybe for the same people, but they're still, helping out, putting the group above all, I guess, maybe is the way to put it.
Yeah. It's awesome. All right, man. Well, appreciate you hopping on.
Oh yeah. Yeah. That it?
That's it.
Oh, good. Good, man. I am cottonmouth. It's like public speaking for me. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I feel you.